So I had this situation where I was traveling to India 2 weeks ago and I almost died. I almost lost my life. Something really bad happened to me unexpectedly, unpredictably, and really put things into perspective about the fragility of a man's life and the fact that it's not truly over until it's over, and why he must always adapt and he must always persevere even in the times of his darkest periods. So so the story goes this. I always love to walk around when I go to a new city, run, explore the place, and just be outside, especially if it's nice weather. So I was in Mumbai, India. It was Sunday afternoon, and I had just gone to a cafe. And I went to the cafe, I had a good meal, good breakfast. And after I left, my plan was to go to the gym. And then after the gym, I was going to go to the beach side and just do a light jog. And this was going to take about 3 to 4 hours of my day. And I was super looking forward to it because it was Sunday, there was no traffic, and the weather was beautiful, and I had a good fit on. So I said, let's go. After I finished my breakfast and I was on the way to the gym, once I got there, the gym membership, I was buying a day pass. The guy said I needed change because he didn't have enough change to break the 500 rupee bill that I had. So I went downstairs to a store to get the change so I could pay for the day pass for the gym for that day. And when I got the change, and the way the gym was, it was on the third floor of a building, of a strip mall building, right? So I had to go downstairs because the elevator wasn't working. So when I went downstairs and I got the change, and when I went back, when I was on my way going back up, I did notice there was another elevator that took me to the third floor, and there was someone waiting for the elevator outside of the elevator doors to go up. So normally I would have just joined that person and waited for the elevator to go to the third floor, right? Because most of the times if I'm going 3 or more floors, I'm going to take the elevator. But this time I decided, nah, I don't need to wait for the elevator. I can just sprint up these stairs. Why am I being a lazy guy and just waiting for the elevator? Why don't I just start my warm up a little bit more and just get an extra 30 seconds of stair sprints before I enter the gym, right? So that's what I did. I looked to my right and I saw the stairs that go up to the gym to the third floor. And there was someone there, right? So I walk around that person and I look up the stairs and I just start sprinting. Like I put my head down and I just start sprinting like 2, 3, 4 steps at a time up the stairs. I go up the first set of stairs, then I turn around. I go up the second set of stairs, okay? And then I turn around and there's the last set of stairs left. And as I'm going up the stairs, I realize, like, looking back at it, I wasn't looking up, right? Exactly seeing what I'm running into. And as I run up the last set of stairs, there's someone in the middle of the stairs that I see from like the side of my eye. So I run around him as I get to the top. And just as I'm about to make the turn and open the gym door, right? I'm going at full speed. I'm like sprinting at full speed. I feel something terribly hard hit this side of my head. Like I hit like a metal pipe or a solid tube. It was something super, super terrible. And it hurt, right? But it wasn't like the worst pain I ever had in my life, but it did hurt. But the shocking part was when I touched my head, right, to see if I'm bleeding. I touched my head like this after I hit the hard item, and I look at my hand and it's fully covered with blood. Like it's dripping blood. And I had a white t-shirt on at the time. So I wiped my hand on my t-shirt, and then I'm like, okay, maybe it's not bleeding that much now. Maybe if I touch my head, there'll be less blood. I touched my head again, fully covered with blood, just the same amount that I touched my head the first time. I wipe it with my white t-shirt, and then I look down, and blood is just dripping on my sneakers. It's dripping on my shoes. And then I realized, like, oh my God, this is a terrible accident that I've just been into. I am literally leaking blood from my head. And the guy next to me was like in shock. He's like, oh my God, what? Like, whoa, yo, like, are you okay? What's going on? This is. So as soon as this happens, right, I'm thinking, okay, I'm losing a ton of blood from my head. What was a beautiful sunny day? What was an awesome, amazing time? I had a good outfit on. I had a good meal. I had money in my pocket. It was Sunday afternoon. I was having a beautiful day. I was taking a twisted, evil turn. I was leaking from my head and I needed to get to the hospital as soon as I could. So I sprint back down the stairs, right? I take out my white t-shirt to stop the bleeding coming from my head. All right. And as I'm down the stairs, I see some people and I'm like, somebody call the hospital. Somebody take me to the hospital right now. I need to get there as soon as possible to stop this bleeding. And there were a couple of people that saw me and they were just like surprised. They didn't know what to do. So they're just like staring at me dumbfounded, like, so I see that they're not really directing me to the hospital. So I run out on the street and then I scream again. I was like, I need to get to the hospital. I need to get to the hospital. So I see two group of men that were there. And thank God, man, if you're watching, this guy, his name was Amit. All right. This Indian man. If you're watching, dude, I thank you a lot for what you did that day. This man saw me leaking blood from my head. He was with his friend, right? As soon as he sees me, he goes, come here, come here, come here. Let's get a rickshaw right there. So he takes me towards a rickshaw where there were actually people getting in there. He tells them, get out. We have an emergency there. Guy needs to get to the hospital. Then he puts me in the rickshaw and then he tells the rickshaw guy, go to the nearest hospital as soon as you can. And thankfully, the rickshaw guy knew exactly where the hospital was. So we're on the way to the hospital, and Amit, the guy that took me to the rickshaw, he's with me coming to the hospital, right? Because I'm at a super vulnerable time where I'm just like leaking blood, and I need to get to the hospital. I don't know what's gonna happen. So we get to the hospital in under about a minute, and as soon as I get there, 50% of my body feels much better already, right? There's a old saying that goes, when you're sick and when you just get to the doctor's office, like half of your pain, half of your illness is already gone mentally and maybe physically too. That's just the psychology of it, because we know that we're going to be in good care. So I get to the hospital, the security guy, the emergency room to be specific, the security guy opens up the door and they go right there, this way. All right. And I'm just like jogging towards the emergency room. As soon as I get in there, I know there's like 6-7 nurses, couple doctors, people moving around, some other patients. As soon as I get there, I'm like, hey, I need help. I've been bleeding a lot. I've lost a lot of blood. These 3-4 nurses come around. They put me on a bed. They attach some things to my body. They start looking at everything, and I just let them take over. Right at that time, I know, okay, I have survived this, or there's a huge chance, like a 90% chance, I'm gonna survive this, because they're about to stop the bleeding right now, which they did. They stopped the bleeding super quick, and I was on the way to healing. But the reason I'm sharing this story with you guys is to let you know that oftentimes, men, we think we have a lot of time. We think every day is rosy, peachy, perfect for opportunity. There's no going to be no obstacles that are going to come in our way. There's going to be no health ailments that are going to come in our way, and we're going to have the full 24 hours to do what we want to do and be productive. But oftentimes, life will give you a stark reminder that, hey, you've been slacking. You haven't put in all the work that you said you were going to do. And now I'm going to give you something, a test, a punishment that's going to show you to appreciate the time you have, appreciate the healthy body you have, and get it to working after your goals. You see, guys, what happened was, when I started bleeding from my head, I had a 50% belief that I was going to die. Okay. I had, because I had never been in that situation before. And it's one thing to bleed out of your body, but out of the top of your head, profusely bleeding, you don't have much time, right? But there was something switched. There was like a switch that went on in my mind that was like, I can't believe this is actually happening. I kind of like chuckled. I was like, are you serious? Like, am I really just bleeding from the side of my head in this random town in India while I was going to the gym? Like, is this really happening? And my mother's home, my parents are home, and they're just chilling. And I have to like tell them, like, hey, your son is about to die. Like, what's going on? So when that happened and I was bleeding from my head, this thing came in my body that like I had to fight for my life, and I was gonna do everything I could to fight for my life. I turned into an animal, right? And I was like, I'm gonna just go and survive until the last breath. I'm gonna go look for healing, for strength, because I've always been going to the gym. I've always had a good physique, a good diet, and I've always been through a lot. So I said, this thing now, this test has come. I'm gonna run through this. I'm gonna survive. I'm a warrior. I'm an animal. I'm a wolf. I may be wounded, but I'm going to survive. I'm going to heal. I'm going to come back stronger. I'm young, right? And that drive mentally in my mind made me run to the hospital, made me get there, and made me hold my white t-shirt over my head while I was bleeding and say, no, I'm going to survive this. And that's what us men need to have. That's what y'all men need to have every day. This urgency that you're going to survive, that you're going to make the most of your time, because life will punish your body, will punish your health, and remind you, hey, I gave you so much good health and time for a long time, but you didn't make use of it. You were complacent. You thought you had all the time in the world. And us men, we cannot fall into that trap. So this was a super tough period of my life. And if you guys can see, I have a couple staples on the top of my head that I need to get removed soon. Thankfully, the wound is healing very well. It wasn't too deep of a wound, so there might be a little bit scarring, but they put staples in my head to stop the scarring and stop the wound from opening up. And it's going to take a couple of weeks for the scar to heal up, from the hair to grow back and all that, and that's all fine. But you know for the next couple days after this happened, I had neck pain. I couldn't like turn my head fully like this or up and down. It used to pain a lot when I used to do that. And I was just reminded of myself, like, man, you'll do whatever to have that good health back, right? Because what was once a Sunday afternoon where you were feeling 100% fine is now turned into a nightmare. So I share this story again to remind you guys that you don't have a lot of time that you think you do. You don't have a lot of good health that you always think you're going to have. You can try to have a lot of time. You can do your best to have the best health you want, but life will remind you every now and then, hey, when you have good time, when you have good health, make use of it, right? Be the best looking version, be the strongest version, be the most financial version, best version of yourself. Work on those things when you're able to, because you won't live forever, and you won't have good health forever, and you won't have all the time that you think you have forever. Things will come in the way, accidents will happen. And also, when these accidents do happen, you have to try your level best, your absolute best to survive and heal and recover and then flourish. There it cannot be any quit inside of you that, hey, I'm bleeding now, I'm going to bleed out and I'm done. No, you lived until your 30s, until your 40s, until your 50s. So you don't give up now. You fight till the last breath until you die. When you die, it's over. Everything is done. Game over. But until then, you always, as a man, have to do everything in your power to survive and thrive and fight for life, because this isn't guaranteed to anybody.